study video where I take a look at the Sabato Crystal Ball 2022 Senate and Governor ratings. And this is my first video to do so be sure to drop a like and drop a subscription if you find this video helpful. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. First of all, why Sabato Crystal Ball and why their ratings are so important? Well, in 2020, they predicted the election almost perfectly, predicting that the Republican Donald Trump will win in Florida, Texas, Iowa, and Ohio, while the Democrat Joe Biden will win in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. The only miss they had was North Carolina. They also got the 2 districts of Nebraska 2nd and Maine 2nd correctly. Furthermore, they predicted that Minnesota will be likely Democratic, while the rest of the Rust Belt will be lean Democratic. They predicted that New Mexico would be likely not safe for Democrats, and there's just a lot of good things about their prediction. They did relatively predict these states correctly. They did not have much misses, and this is something that I really like about their prediction. They're somehow able to get the election correctly. Now again, they don't have the 2024 prediction, and this is their Senate prediction as it stands today. And I think a lot of these races are pretty reasonable. If you go to the safe blue states, the West Coast, of course, these states are safe for the Democratic Party. If we look at the Sabato Crystal Ball again ratings, I got the wrong map here, so this is the map here. The West Coast, of course, solid for the Democrats. Hawaii, solid for Democrats. We're going to fill in the traditionally safe states. We're just going to get Sabato Crystal Ball here. These are states that I think are pretty safe for both parties. Again, they have Colorado safe. I do not agree with that. I think Colorado will be closer to likely. However, again, they did very, very a long time ago, so I guess at the time it might have been considered safe. I think safe is still reasonable at the time. It's not reasonable today, in my opinion, but yet right now, it's still, at the time, it's still pretty good. Now we go to the state of Alaska. It's safe red. I actually agree because of ranked choice voting. Utah, Idaho, the Dakotas, Kansas, a lot of these states I think should be considered safe for Democrats. That's Republicans. That's correct. Indiana and Iowa. What I think it's good about their prediction is that they predicted that Chuck Grassley will run in Iowa. Now, at the time, many people were like, he's going to retire, but I think they predicted that he'll run, so that's why they gave it as a safe margin for Republicans. This is something I think is very good of their prediction. If we look at the likely states for both parties, the Democrats have none. The Republicans have Missouri, which is something I do agree on. Florida, Marco Rubio, I do agree on this prediction. Ohio, it might be a little bit iffy in the likely column, but I think they realize that Republicans have a very good shot at winning that state, and therefore I do say that this prediction is pretty reasonable. For 2 lean Republican states, I think they realize that North Carolina and Wisconsin, although the Republicans did not do too well, we're going to be lean Republican. Especially for that time, I'd say that this prediction is pretty solid. They predicted that Ron Johnson will win re-election, or the Republicans said they predicted that. I think that's pretty good. On their part of their prediction, the state of North Carolina, it was lean Republican. Wisconsin at the time I'll play as a toss-up at the time. However, right now I think that looking back at the prediction, it's relatively good. At least in my opinion. The Democratic lean states are the states they all held currently. Yeah, I'm sure I'm a little bit iffy about that, but otherwise the prediction is relatively good. The state of Pennsylvania lay left as a toss-up. It is truly, in my opinion, the most competitive race. So therefore, I say that the Sabato Crystal Ball 2022 Senate ratings are relatively, at least at the time, pretty accurate. At least for the time being. Now, this is the 2022 governor races. This is the, wait a minute. So, the amount of, races that will be contested has 18 Democrats and 20 Republicans. This is the map that currently speaking are true. So basically, Republicans, they hold this portion of the United States. The Democrats, they hold most of the Rust Belt and the Midwest is often held by Republicans. There is this exemption of Kansas. The Democrats hold the West Coast. The Republicans hold this portion, and they do hold the 3 races here. So, right now, after this prediction, this is the prediction they basically gave. Alright, now there are some issues I have to address on this prediction. First of all, it's I guess favoring the incumbent party, alright? Just like that Senate prediction, they're more likely to favor the incumbent party. If we zoom into this prediction, California is safe for the Democrats. I think that's, I guess, pretty good because Gavin Newsom did win by a large margin, so that's good, in my opinion. Now, if we look at Oregon, only in the lean column, I don't think so, alright? Oregon is pretty blue, especially in a political diversity nation. Oregon should be in the likely column. Again, that's something I do disagree on. And I do not think it's going to be close to being in the lean column. Nevada, lean a Democrat, I think I sort of agree. I'd say it's more compatible than lean, but that's their, I guess, characterization. There's no tilt on this characterization, so I would say I relatively agree. If we look at the state of Alaska, likely Republican. Now, I think that it's not going to be contested by the Democrats. However, the race is a little bit more competitive. Arizona is a toss-up on this map here, so I'm not going to fill in that. Both Colorado and New Mexico. New Mexico may be a little bit closer, however, Colorado is absolutely going to be pretty solid for the Democrats. If we look at up here, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, South Dakota was actually pretty close in 2018. If we look at the state of South Dakota, it was decided by 3.4 percentage points. Kristi Noem was not a popular incumbent. She's likely still going to underperform Trump by quite a bit. However, again, she is predicted to win by a safe margin on this map here. So I'm going to fill in that as safe. Kansas State leave as a toss-up. I really don't agree on that. I think the Republicans are going to win. Right now, I'd say more like a likely margin than a lead margin. However, the Republicans are basically going to win that race. However, they did not fill in that. I'm not going to fill in that for them. So, for the state of Texas, I think that is pretty reasonable. Greg Abbott is probably going to win re-election by around a likely margin. Hawaii State for the Democrats, that's of course expected. Going into these states here, I think that Arkansas, Tennessee, and Alabama, these states are safe for the Republicans. That's no surprise here. Going to the state of Florida, I think likely Republican is pretty reasonable to me. Going into the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia, Stacey Abrams is running there. I still think she'll win, but again, this is an incumbent favoring model, and I do agree with this, relatively with this prediction. So, going to the state of Virginia, yeah, I'd say lean is pretty good. As it stands right now, I'll characterize as a lean. South Carolina, I think it's likely. Oh, it's safe. Honestly, South Carolina isn't safe. I don't know why they characterize as safe. Harry McMaster in 2018 only won her governor race by 8 points against Smith, who I don't even know who she or he is. I think she is. So, I do not believe that this race will be safe, but again, it's going to go Republican. Going into Iowa and Ohio, both of those races are characterized as likely for Republicans. I honestly need to agree because, again, Ohio and Iowa could be a little bit closer like they were in 2018. However, 2016. However, you do have to realize that the election is likely not going to be too good for the Democrats next election. So again, they might not have that wave or that support they might really like. Minnesota likely, I really would agree with this prediction. Illinois likely, I'm a little bit iffy, but again, this prediction I'd say is pretty reasonable if you ask me. Likely or safe, right now I'll say likely more than safe. Michigan is lean. The race may be a little bit more competitive, however, Gretchen Whitmer I do believe will win re-election. Maryland lean Democrat, I honestly don't think so. I think it's going to be safe Democrat. Again, they are more likely to favor the incumbent party. That's something I would say. Models often do that. So, lean Democrat, I honestly couldn't disagree because they are a model. But again, if you're predicting elections, Maryland is not lean Democrat. It's likely or safe Democrat. Right now, I'm betting on safe Democrat. All right. New Jersey likely Democrat. New Jersey, it could be in the single digits. I'm not sure. I think it's more like in the safe column, but likely is also pretty reasonable to me. Connecticut, Ned Lamont, I think that's pretty good if you ask me. Rhode Island, I honestly don't see it being likely. The margin could go down again, but right now, it's just pretty safe for the Democrats. Just to put it out there, it's pretty safe for the Democrats. I honestly could not see this race going really down to likely. Going into the other races here. New York, yes, New York. New York likely is fine. Safe is also fine. I honestly just think polarization will be able to pull a lot of these races to the safe Democratic column instead of likely or lean. Going into Massachusetts, Vermont, those states, they put it as likely. Honestly, I think most of those races will be safe. Baker will absolutely win by a safe margin. He won last time. He almost won Boston, which is very, very interesting. If you look at Vermont against Tim Scott did not win he won by 15 points, which is not considered safe, but again, this is a very, very good margin for him. I do not believe. Even with polarization, those states should be considered safe. New Hampshire lean Republican. I think it's better for them to just leave it as a toss-up. Again, I do think that race is a little bit favoring towards the Republicans, but because they're leaving so much races, even Kansas in the toss-up column, I would say that New Hampshire, they probably should leave it in the toss-up column for good. Now, the state of Maine, not very surprising, lean Democrat. It's rather likely or lean Democrat. Right now, I'd say I'm closer to lean than likely. Both of those ratings, I think, is pretty much accepted right now. So this is the map here. Again, the other races the toss-up races, I'll fill them in as how I expect them to go by tote. So it doesn't necessarily mean the party's going to win by tote margin. When I fill in Kansas as tote Republican, I'm not saying that the Republicans are going to win by tote margin. But this is just how I expect the election to go. Right now, 27 Republicans, 23 Democrats. Again, the races I'm probably the most uncertain are Pennsylvania and Georgia. I think those two races, really, I would put them in the toss-up column. Right now, I see Democrats are favoring both of these. The three Republican states, I'm pretty confident in these two Democratic states. Nah, but I think that Democrats do get favored like 55 to 45 in both of those races. Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf is not running again. If he runs again, it's going to be lean or likely. Georgia, it just depends on Stacey Abrams. If she runs, I think she'll be favored. If she doesn't run, no matter who runs, I think really it's going to be to Republican. I think it's just because of Brian Kemp's unpopularity. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.